Greetings sailors and welcome back to World of Warships and a look at one of the previous Spanish cruisers. We're going to take a look at the Balearis, which is as far as I've gotten with the tokens so far. This does actually look very familiar if you've been playing the game for the last... when did Canaris come out? I can't remember, it was a little while ago actually, but yeah, basically it's the sister ship of the Canaris at tier 6, and I haven't played it yet, but it probably won't be that similar, largely because it has high explosive. The Canaris has exclusively got AP shells, and so if you've got broadside cruisers to shoot at, that's fine, but if you don't, you're going to struggle to do any sort of significant amount of damage with it. The other thing is that the Balearis does get torpedoes, whereas the Canaris does not. I haven't played it yet, like I said, but it does seem like it's an okay tier 6 cruiser. I haven't played the tier 4. Tier 5 I struggled with a bit, mainly because the high explosive has a pretty lackluster fire chance. You can't really get the fires, and it doesn't have better penetration like the German Königsberg does at tier 5. It does have a unique, semi-unique feature in that that turret there traverses all the way around, so you can actually get quite a lot of the time 3/4 of your turrets firing at things. If you're sort of heading towards something, obviously that only applies to that one rear turret, but I was quite often finding I was having 3 of my 4 turrets available a lot more often than you would in another 2x2 cruiser, where it's 2 fore, 2 aft. So that part was nice, but yeah, the lackluster fire chance I absolutely felt, and it being based on the E-class, aka as we have in game the Emerald. It's also a squishy ship, but it's got good concealment at least. This was with a 4-point captain. We still have just sub 10 kilometers, so it goes down to like just over 9.1, 9.2, something like that with concealment expert. So it can be sneaky, and it doesn't actually suffer for range. On top of that, 15 kilometers is pretty good. A lot of the very, very sneaky cruisers tend to have also fairly low main battery ranges to go along with that. So it's not like once this thing is fully kitted out for concealment, it's going to be better, but it's not a great ship in terms of firepower. Baleares, on the other hand, you're stepping up to the 8-inch guns, and it looks like it might be quite respectable. It's got a much better fire chance, 17%. That's with flags, but again without the captain's skill, which is the same on the Galicia, and not a hugely better range, but for tier 6 that's still all right. The fire rate is all right. The turret traverse is actually not bad, 22.5 seconds. You've got not as good concealment, and I don't think the concealment overall, when it's maxed out, will be quite as good as the Canaris. It's like 10.5, there we go. So it's not quite as good, but 10.5 still not bad for a heavy cruiser of this tier. And it's also got a reasonable turn of speed when you've got the Sierra Mike flag on as well. So yeah, we'll see how we do with this. It looks okay overall. Probably the biggest difference is the fact, of course, Canaris does not have any high explosive shells, and it also doesn't have any torpedoes, which this does have. So yeah, this might actually be a bit more interesting to play than Canaris. Canaris can be a bit of a struggle bus because you only have the high explosive and you don't have any torps to top up your damage with. And if you don't have flat broadside targets to shoot at, then it can be an absolute struggle to get any particular amount of damage done. So here we are, top tier game. I'll take it. Not many cruisers, but as long as I try and not put myself in a position where I'm being super focused, hopefully it will work out okay. Even without concealment expert, it's still not terrible. 11.7 ain't terrible for a cruiser of this tier. We also have an okay AA range. So that's not too bad. You sometimes get like, it's not like the AA is anything special, but at least the AA range is decent. You get some of the cruisers, you know, like Dutch cruisers. I'm looking at you, where they really do have very bad AA ranges, or Italian battleships as another example. So let's maybe head south to start with. Yeah, we'll see what we see. And hopefully, I mean, I'm a cruiser, and, you know, if I get hit broadside by anything, it's gonna hurt, but as long as I'm not playing completely stupidly, it should be an okay experience. I've also just noticed we have a pair of tier 4s that have managed to sneak in failed divisions, so okay, we'll see how that goes. Right, so we've got a bunch of stuff spotted at this point. Let's try our luck hitting this Nicholas. If I was in the Canaris right now, I don't know if I'd have even really bothered trying to fire at certainly not a bow-on Nicholas. Even a broadside Nicholas, I don't think we would have had that much luck with. Okay, that wasn't enough lead. I mean, this is the first time playing it. I don't know the exact ballistics of this, but they don't seem too bad. Somebody's taking a pop at me, though. That's probably the Königsberg. Which, yeah, there's a couple of things aiming at me, which I'm not sure I'm a fan of right now. Especially something like the Königsberg, which will have absolutely no difficulty going through my armor whatsoever. Anyway, there's a couple of defense flags. Not a huge amount of damage, but I have defended that Nicholas, and we'll try now and get unspotted, I think. Don't want to be charging in too hard here. I know the Nicholas is in smoke. We've got smoke screen here. I think we might back off here, actually. It's literally me, the Mayhan, and the Bayern. I don't think the Bayern is, like, if they get focused, they're not going to survive. If I get focused, I'm certainly not going to survive. Do I want to maybe go... Oh, no, never mind. Cochrane's turning away. We do have, okay, okay, yeah. We do have the torps to use, but those are pretty restrictive torp angles. That's going to make life awkward, I think. Certainly sometimes. Yeah, just on the off chance that somebody sneaks through there. But, yeah, overall, it's going to be a struggle to use those on any kind of consistent basis, I think. So who's targeting me right now? I don't know, but I don't like it either way. Probably the Nicholas. Let's try having a go at that Cochrane. It might even be... No, it's not the Königsberg. Is it the Grom? It might be the Grom. Taking some sneaky bot shots. So I really don't want to have the attention of those battleships up there, but they are engaging our blob of ships here. So, yeah, let's back off here a bit, and let's try and not make myself a tasty target, although when you're in a cruiser you can't always guarantee that's going to happen. Yes, the Bayern is getting a bit focused. That's maybe not too surprising. Right, there's the Nicholas. Let's see if we can finish them off. Not the biggest threat in terms of stealth torping, but a well-played Nicholas can still be a problem. They do have the Nicholas and the Farragut, they do actually have fairly sort of heavy broadsides of torpedoes. It's just they can't really stealth torp, so you need to have a certain mindset to do well in them. It's not until the Mayhan where you can stealth torp, and at that point the torpedoes get a lot slower. But yeah, we just need to land some decent hits. There we go. So that's our first kill. This is looking a bit messy overall, though. Like, that Bayern's just getting steadily focused down. The two destroyers are maybe going to be in a bit position to get the camps while people are distracted, but it sort of depends how well they play. Mayhan's got terrible concealment. I mean, Grom ain't great either, but Mayhan's, what, like 6.8? So, quite possibly the Mayhan outspots the Grom. The other way around, the Grom outspots the Mayhan. You know, the Grom has backup and the Mayhan kind of doesn't. So I would be very, very cautious if I were that Mayhem. But the T-22 on the other hand is very, very sneaky. I'm not entirely sure why they're taking that route around there. Right, there's the Grom. And they are in fact there. In terms of map control, this ain't looking great. Our blob of ships ain't really going for the C cap or the B cap. This is kind of a mess. Okay, the Aviary and the Fubuki just rammed each other. And yeah, the Mayhem's lost a bunch of health. I'm just kind of looking for targets of opportunity at the moment, and sort of scrambling not to get caught out of place. This is one of those matches, as it turns out, where everything is kind of messy and incoherent. And when you're in a squashy ship, especially a squashy ship without a heal, it can make life very, very interesting. Trying not to get caught out of place and just focused to death. It doesn't even have to be focused to death. It can be one solid battleship salvo and you're done. So there's a fire, but he's immediately extinguished. I really don't know who's targeting me right now. But the Koenig is... Oh, was it the Wyoming? That might have been the Wyoming. Koenig's done. There goes the Bayern. Just getting chewed on. I'm truly not sure what the T-22 is planning. Maybe they're just sort of trying to drop torpedoes across the cap. Mayhan's still alive, which is good. But we could do with getting caps. So what have we got left? We've got an Icarus, who's the one in the C cap. We've got the Wyoming in the B cap, who's getting whittled down, but we don't actually have the B cap. And we still got a Queen Elizabeth up there somewhere. Yeah, oh, okay, yeah, there goes the T-22. T-22 is quite sneaky. I don't know how you managed to do that, T-22. But that really is a waste. That was probably our most powerful, like, played well. T-22 is a very, very strong little destroyer. That wasn't a T-22 that was being played well, unfortunately. Right, so there's the Icarus. Queen Elizabeth is still up here and sort of reversing slowly towards the border, apparently. Alright, you know how to use WASD hacks, which obviously is cheating. We need a cap. We do need a cap quite badly. It's a pity we don't have any destroyers left, because there goes our Mayhan as well, but their Grom is also out of the picture, so it is just that Icarus that's left. Still, yeah, overall, they have more than double our points, so we need a cap. We do need a cap. And they do still have that very healthy Queen Elizabeth. They still have the healthy Renown, healthy Königsberg. Don't know how much the New York is packing in terms of hit points. That's a weird way to, you know, say, I wonder how many hit points they have. What are they packing? Okay. But yeah, we're not doing too badly in terms of healthy battleships either. It's just sort of... Ooh, is that for me or is that for a battleship behind me? If it was for me, it was for me. It wasn't... Well, they were locked on though, apparently. Right, I was thinking of getting the cap, but that's not going to happen, so let's now focus the Renown, I guess. And try and knock them out of the picture. Speed boosting, hopefully, towards their doom. And the advantage of also being in the middle of a crowd like this is that I am less likely to get individually focused, although sometimes people will prioritise the cruisers because, hey, it's a squashy cruiser and it might be easier to kill. Were you just desperate to use your torpedoes, Renown? Did you just absolutely have to torpedo something even if it... Well, to their credit, you know, they did. It cost them their ship, but they did. So there's another kill. I don't really have a lot of damage so far. They're also quite far ahead on points. We've never had a cap, despite the fact that they don't have that many ships left. I mean, we don't either, but they're a bit scattered right now. Oh, too focusing. Don't like too focusing me. Are you looking at me, New York? No, we're firing at the Orion. It's the Königsberg that's looking at me. Let's try and get some fires on the New York. Königsberg is definitely also still a threat. Don't I might outrange it slightly? Yeah, okay, I think our Königsberg has taken their attention. Coming around the corner. Yeah, there we go. Someone just gave the Königsberg a good smack. Sometimes you have to be, especially in a cruiser, you have to be very mercenary, use your allies who are low health and taking the attention. You have to capitalize on that and just make the best of it. Oh dear, our Königsberg went down. I don't think our Rhine is going to last too much longer either. Can I get a fire on this New York, please? Because now I'm going to be the one getting focus. Okay, there's our healthy New York. Galissonier's capping. The Queen Elizabeth is still up back near the border somewhere. If it weren't so close on points, I would be a lot more confident right now. But because we've basically never had a cap, the only reason we haven't lost already is because we've managed to kill so many enemy ships. New York, stop firing at me. I don't like it. Right, kill the Königsberg. Kill Königsberg. We need the points. We're at 900 points. This would be so winnable if we'd had a cap before now and hadn't bled so many points just to them having caps ticking up as well as killing our ships. And we've just been killing their ships. And so we have 300 points versus 900 points. Yeah, we really need to kill that Königsberg. We absolutely do. I would be more worried about the Queen Elizabeth if they'd been playing well, but they haven't. But they didn't need to play well because we've never had the caps. I really, like, if our T-22 had been playing smarter, this could have been a very different sort of outcome, potentially. But I think we're just going to lose this on points, sadly. Kill the Königsberg! Kill the Königsberg! I don't have the range, but you have the range, New York. We need the points. We really, 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 really super duper need the points. Because I don't think... No, it's too late. Oh well. We've lost. Alas. Yeah, this was a mess. This was an absolute mess. This is what happens when your team resolutely decides to ignore caps and... Yeah. Oh, well, there we go. They finished it by killing the New York. We tried! We tried! But when you're in a cruiser in that kind of situation, it's sort of a little bit limited. Yeah. I mean, the T-22... well, there we go. The Mayhan actually was slightly above the T-22. The T-22, that was just a waste. I didn't see what happened to the Icarus. Or the Fubuki, for that matter. But oh no, yeah, the Fubuki collided with the Avieri, didn't they? So, yeah, damage-wise, that wasn't really anything special. I did get 6 fires, but I don't think we would have had 2,000 fire damage. So the 6 fires didn't really count for much. It was basically all the HE, and we didn't really get close enough that I felt that using the AP would have been worth it. So that's a little bit of a pity, but we'll try that again. Right, tier 7 game this time. 4 destroyers again, a sub as well. Only 3 battleships though, and 1 more cruiser, so it's a little less of a hostile environment, but that's still 3 tier 7 battleships. So let's give this a go. Oh, it's also a standard game, which is never my favourite. It's never my favourite. Okay, so that's me spotted. I guess there's a destroyer in the middle there. Somewhere. Yes, I see you firing at me, Gneiser now. Let's hope this doesn't hurt too much. There we go. Okay, it's fine. It's only 6 guns on the Canaris now, but you know, if they hit, they do hurt. They are 15-inch guns after all. I rather like the German 15-inch guns when they work. Okay. Oh, hello, Nürnberg. I wonder if you'd be worth going to some AP shells. What kind of broadside? Oh, I've lost sight of you. There's a Celebes. There's more Gneisenau shells. Ow! Yeah, that can happen. That was a citadel. Wasn't particularly doing anything wrong there, but hey, battleship shell. Are you going to run aground? No, it's managing to just not run aground. Oh, no, no, he's run aground. Okay. That's generally not the wisest idea in a cruiser. 3 overpens. Okay, I'm not super impressed with these AP shells overall. But we are firing at range, so of course you're losing penetration. Oh, there we go, Citadel. Oh, that's more like it. I mean, I guess if they're plunging hits and they're sort of triggering on the superstructure, you're more likely to get the just the overpens, but you would hope for results more like that. Right, let's. Are you? I feel like there might be a little bit of panic going on in the mind of that player right now. Either that, or they're dealing with really, really bad ping, which is always a possibility. But that is very unfortunate for them. Yes, very, very, very unfortunate. Right, that's a blob of ships there, unsurprisingly. Gneisenau's going over there somewhere. We might get somebody sneaking through there to go for the cap. Because, hey, standard games. They're wacky and these things happen. Also, yeah, there's definitely still a destroyer in that area. What have they got? Right, the Valkylau, we know where they are. Matsuki, we know where one of those are. We know where both Matsukis are. So that leaves the Scorner and the submarine. I am not sure I like where these guys are going. Our cap's looking a little bit vulnerable right now. And that Valkyrie could easily just decide they're going to mosey on in there. Although at the moment I think they're more interested in the Duke of York. I think we might be hanging around and protecting the cap, or at least trying to. Is this just like a national run into islands day? Although sometimes in a destroyer especially, or well, any ship, if you're trying to change velocity or change direction, it's actually easier to ram into an island and come to a dead halt rather than slam on the brakes. Yeah, this Gneisenau is definitely going to try something, aren't you? Right, this Gneisenau is going to be a problem, chaps. And looks like this Valkylan's also having thoughts. The Valkylan I can do something about, but the Gneisenau I'm going to have to get a bit lucky. Because, yeah! It's a battleship and I'm a mere lowly tier 6 cruiser. And I don't think I can stealth up. Yeah, that's a problem. That's definitely a problem. Right, I'm not going to try and drop my torps on the other side. The angles are quite simply too bad. One more citadel and I am done at this point. I'm trying to help out my allies against that Valkyrie because then they can maybe help me out with this Gneisenau. I was thinking it will be a destroyer that tries to sneak through. No, it was a bloody top tier battleship. Okay. Right, there's the Valkyrie out of the way. We do have the Duke of York coming to assist, but yeah, I am one bad RNG away from dying at this stage. We do at least have an opportunity to try and peg a fire on this Canaris now. Right, he's not looking at me. No, he's looking back at me. I think he was briefly looking over at the Duke of York. He's probably more likely to get a fire going than I am. Oh, please don't kill me. I'm praying for some old school German accuracy. He's very firmly focused on me. Not even... I don't know. I think he's just chasing me at this point, to be honest. Doesn't seem to be trying to cap so much, which is kind of hard to do in a battleship. Sometimes you do these things to just disrupt the enemy, but it's usually with at least some kind of exit plan. But no, this guy's just straight chasing after me. Ignoring everyone else that's now firing at them. They are absolutely not going to get out of this alive. You know, if and when they kill me, there's no way they're getting out of this. They're going to get focused by everybody. I have no idea what's going on right now. Sometimes people do things and it's just like, why? Why was this your plan? Why do you have to kill this one mid-tier cruiser quite so badly? And the answer is I don't know, but they do! Somehow. They really, really do. It's just the thing that they must do, even if it is totally illogical and is going to cost them their ship. And it's just generally a really stupid idea, but sometimes people do those things anyway. Right, oh, unfortunately we lost Organizer now to the Scorner, who was in the middle. It was the Scorner. The U-69 is on the other side, okay. Process of elimination. I mean, this has been disruptive, but this is still... I don't know what's going on. Canaris now, why are you doing this? Why are you like this? What's happening right now? What was the decision-making process that led you to this point? How is it that I, how? Why? I mean, for context, I'm recording this on a Sunday, so this might just be, you know, shrug, typical weekend player, but I have no idea. That was some hardcore tunnel visioning. That, I mean, at that point, that's not even tunnel visioning, that's just the deliberate decision that I am going to kill this one cruiser. I'm going to give away my top tier battleship for this mid-tier cruiser. For no actual logical reason, it's just a thing that I am going to do. And if they'd succeeded, it still would have been a waste, but I think they're winning regardless. Yeah. It's still baffling. Doesn't make it any less baffling. It's just, it isn't necessarily going to change the outcome of what's happening right now. But who knows, you know, maybe it will. Maybe we'll get to the end and we'll be like, oh, that one Canaris now, wow, they could have done so much more. Right, are you taking a pop at me, Strasbourg? Yes, you are. Those guns are a lot less scary, the 330 mils than the 381s. I've got a better chance of actually doing things like bouncing. Oh, hello. Hello, Cochrane. Ouch. A better chance, but not a zero chance. I don't know how much that hurt me there. Being able to not dodge because the Cochrane rammed into my side. Right, there's the Neve de Julio, who's probably going to be the one to kill me. Yeah, I'm not surviving this. That's not happening. Hello, Scorner. Yeah, they're just closing the net in at this point. What can you do? Apart from go down swinging. Better damage this time. That enemy Canaris now is just baffling. Like, there's no other words for it. That's just baffling when somebody does that. There was no logic to that whatsoever. Right, it's going to be the Julio that gets me right. It's the torture boat! You don't see those very often. Man, wargaming, like, back when Sub-Octavian... I mean, this is all back when Sub-Octavian was still the head honcho for Warships, but, yeah. He got properly annoyed that I kept referring to it as the torture boat. Even though that is an accurate appellation for the Neve de Julio, given its history. But, you know, they wanted to just slightly ignore that part of its history. It's not like there's several other ships of, heck, the very same ex-US class, what was it, like a Brooklyn class or something like that, that went to other South American navies that they could have used. They could have named it other things that would not have had quite such a direct connection with some very, very deeply horrible parts of South American history in the 20th century. But no, they went with the torture boat, so I called it the torture boat. So you just, you know, you just have to live with that, wargaming. Not that, you know, I'm sure anyone that matters is watching my channel at this point, but yeah, even when you're a CC, you could make all the arguments in the world until you're blue in the face about things like that, and they just would not really care about it. It was only very occasionally names of things got changed. Usually it was the names of things that, you know, ships that never actually got built. It was never, oh, well, we're going to change the name of this to a similar one in the same class, regardless of the history. But there's not that many ships that do have a similar history to the Neve de Julio. Although, ironically, I think we do have another one in the game. I think the Irian, I think, if I remember correctly, also ended up serving a somewhat similar function for an equally dark period in Indonesia's history. Anyway, we've definitely lost this one. Slightly better damage, but man, that Canaris now was so weird. That was very, very, very odd, even by weekend standards. So I went away for 3 minutes to, like, feed a cat and put on a cup of tea. And I've come back to find that somehow it's 2 versus 2, or 2 versus 3 rather, the submarine's still around. And maybe I was unintentionally more prophetic than I thought, but it looks like the sub is spotting the Podvoisky, and the Mayhan's now also firing. So, yeah, I mean, they're still ahead on points. We're down to the last minute. I don't think there's going to be a last-second miracle happening somehow, but it's still going to end up being apparently a much tighter game than I thought it would be. I mean, if the things left were slow-firing battleships, perhaps these destroyers might have more of a chance. But no, they've got the sub to spot for them, and they're both light cruisers. So, yeah, I think they're still going to win. I mean, this Podvoisky might, yeah, there we go, might be about to die. And the Mayhan is pretty much a one-shot as well. So, yes, okay, I wasn't actually foreshadowing earlier about the enemy Canaris being the one to make the difference, but this didn't necessarily need to be this close. Anyway, turns out this was a really close game, and far more close than I could possibly have actually predicted, and it was even the person in the torture boat that ended up with a Kraken, so they were obviously doing alright. The Mayhem got 3 kills as well, though. Oh, certainly not bad. Oh, well, yeah, there goes the Mayhem. So I don't think the sub necessarily... I mean, we'll see what damage they did, what score they got, but yeah, their spotting was clearly very important at the end there. It wasn't even that. Who was spotting them then? 16. They must have left the game. They couldn't have been spotting for these two. How were they able to see the Podvoisky and I don't know. Like, you don't get an XP of 16 without basically either your client crashing and not coming back or deliberately quitting the game. So somehow they were able to... I don't know. I don't know how they were able to nail the Podvoisky and manage to nail the Mayhem so accurately. It's not like they could either of them outspot those ships. Who knows? I really don't quite understand that with the context of knowing that the U-69 was basically still stationary over where it was last spotted. Without that ship spotting, that makes less sense. Maybe I'll go back and watch the replay and try and figure out what was happening, but still. That was a bit odd, but it's certainly a better result for me. So, yeah, that enemy class. Now, what was that? What was that? What was that? Gorn the Giant, or Gorn the Giant? Oh, I can't even read that. Grorp the Giant. What was that? Did you just absolutely have to have my... what's the word I'm looking for? Signature, not signature. Autograph. There we go. The celebrity signature. That one. Did you just absolutely have to have my autograph? I guess so. Anyway, Balearis, yeah, not bad. Certainly a good step up from the Tier 5, which I'm really not impressed by. This just seems like a pretty reasonably capable Tier 6 cruiser. It's just a pity the torpedo angles are so horribly restrictive. And it's not like you can stealth torp. So, you know, if you're trying to use these, it comes with a fairly considerable risk. But otherwise, yeah, not bad. I certainly prefer it over the Canaris. It's got a lot more flexibility than the AP only, even if the stealth is not quite as good. Oh, one other thing, by the way. You might have noticed I don't have any camo on these. If you put camo on them, the unlike the... Actually, no, it probably is the same with the Canaris. But it basically gets rid of the neutrality patches. So, as with the Canaris... although one of the perma camos actually does. Which, okay, I'd forgotten that, but yeah, I don't know if the... Oh, there we go, so the perma camo does, but if you put any of the other camos on. So it's just an odd little quirk of the camos, where you can hide the neutrality patches if you want, but I guess if you get the perma camos, they are very firmly a part of that. So if you don't want a big Spanish flag on the side, you can get rid of it, but if you do, you can just have it be naked or have the perma camo. And that really has nothing to do with the gameplay, it's just a totally random observation my brain decided that I needed to make here at the end of this video, where I'm sure everybody is definitely still watching. Anyway, it was a long week. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, you can do all the usual things down underneath the video, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.